basically,
Okay, hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Brad Gottschall. I'm the Lower Paxton Township Manager, and in typical fashion, I'm going to give a brief summary of this evening's agenda before we begin, particularly for the benefit of those who may be watching on television. So the board under old business will get to a number of items, including action on application for payment number 1 relating to the 2021 Lower Paxton Township paving project. Next, the board will take action on resolutions 21-18-01 up to 21-18-07, which all relate to the submission of Dauphin County local share gaming grant applications. And then under subdivision and land development, the board will do 2 action items, one relating to the final subdivision plan for DNF Ventures, LLC, and the next relating to the preliminary and final land development plan for the Infinity Charter School. Before adjournment and announcements, the board will take action on a number of improvement guarantees and the payment of township and authority bills. And with all that said, members of the board are seated and prepared to conduct business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gottschall. We'll call this meeting of the Lower Paxton Township Board of Supervisors to order. Would like to ask everyone to please rise, and Supervisor Lindsay will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Would now like to move to approval of minutes of the meetings of May 4th, 2021 and May 19th, 2021, both being business meetings. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the May 4th, 2021 and the May 19th, 2021 business meeting minutes.
So moved. Is there a second?
second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
This brings us to the time set aside for public comment. Public comment is for an item that is not on the agenda tonight. If you are here to speak to an item that is on the agenda, we will have public comment at that time. So is anybody here who would like to speak to an item not on the agenda this evening? Would anybody like to speak to an item not on the agenda this evening? I see none. I also would like to announce that prior to this meeting and following, the Board of Supervisors will be meeting in executive session to discuss personnel matters. That brings us to chairman and board member comments. Board members, do we have any comments this evening?
I have 2, Mr. Chairman. Saturday I attended the 5K race over at the YMCA. They had 52 runners. The first runner came through in 17 minutes. I wanted to thank all the volunteers. There was a lot of volunteers there that were outside of the township that came to help. And thank you to the Parks and Recreation for taking care of that. Last evening, Mr. Zumas and myself attend our annual monthly Council of Government meeting. We discussed Act 50 with the wireless ordinances, Senate Bill 554 with the amended with the Sunshine Act. And we had a speaker last night that talked about co-responder for at-risk adults, children, and families. It's called Bridges, and you would get a hub and you could call if you needed help. Unfortunately, Lower Paxton Township Police Department is ahead of the game. We've already hired a mental health worker that rides with our police department every day. So we were proud to be there and know that we were ahead of what everybody else was doing.
Very good. Any other board member comments? Good. Seeing none, we'll move to the manager's report. Mr. Gottschall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have no report this evening.
Oh, thank you. An excellent report. Seeing no old business, we will now move to new business. And the first item under new business is we need to take action on the application for payment number 1 in the amount of $429,080.09 from Penzi Supply for the 2020 Township Paving project. Mr. Gottschall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, as mentioned, I do see the engineer here, so after this, if you have any questions, myself or Mr. Hines would be happy to help answer those questions. Payment for application for payment, excuse me, number 1, authorizes payment in the amount of $429,080.09 to the contractor Penzi Supply Incorporated on the Township's 2021 street paving project. Once executed, the balance of this contract will be in the amount of $1,021,353.36. This application has been reviewed and recommended by the Township engineer and staff. And again, with that, if you have any questions, we'd be happy to help answer those.
So paving is underway,
Yes, sir.
I would assume, since we're paying for it. That's-
Okay, I just have a question, Brad. You said 1 million, and our packet says in the amount of 429.
Yeah, actually, once this pay application is executed, the remaining balance of the contract will be $1,021,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I was just
My
trying to,
apologies, yeah.
okay.
Board members' questions?
Just should probably note that on the written and on the agenda, it says 2020.
Yeah? Okay.
So just,
As long as the motion has 2021, we'd prefer not to relive 2020 for.
and all the paperwork says 21, and just so people know, we're not that slow in paying our bills.
Good point. Any public comment or questions? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve action on application for payment number 1 in the amount of $429,080.09 from Penzi Supply for the 2021 Lower Paxton Township paving project.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hines. We'll now move to 9B. We need to take action on a number of resolutions, which, Mr. Solicitor, I believe we can do all in one motion.
That's correct.
These would be resolutions 21-1801 to 21-1807, endorsing and authorizing the submission of Dauphin County local share grant applications. And Mr. Gottschall, we have ranked the applications.
Yes, sir, indeed you have. At last week's workshop meeting, the board heard from a number of community organizations seeking funding from the 2021 through 2022 Dauphin County Local Share Grant Program. As co-applicant to each of the respective requests, the township customarily ranks each of the projects in order of local priority. And that being done, after assessing the average, the mean, the mode, you name it, ranking given by each of the supervisors, the final project rank listing is as follows. Number 1 was the Lower Paxton Township Parks and Recreation Master Plan. This is inclusive of a phase dedicated to the renovation of the Brightville Park basketball courts. As you may recall, this was presented at last week's meeting by the department as a combined application, that being the master plan and the Brightville Park renovations. After hearing from the county through its pre-application meeting, it was recommended that that be combined into one application, thereby placing this as the only Parks and Rec project, and that receiving rank number 1. Number 2, the Panther Ram Foundation's New Trapax program. Number 3, the Coons Memorial Park Swim Club Diving Board Replacement Project. Number 4, the Jewish Home Facility Renovations and Upgrades Project. Number 5, the Colonial Park Fire's Electronic Message Board Installation Project. Number 6, the Partnership of Hope's Workplace Development Program. And number 7, the Penn Colonial Swim Club's Wastewater Disposal System Replacement Project. The board will adopt the corresponding resolutions in support of the various projects and provide them to the respective organization for inclusion with their applications. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to help answer those.
Just want to point out, these are recommendations. The county will do what they want to do.
Yes.
Did they all have their interviews, Brad? Do you know?
I know at least the Parks and Rec department has. I'm not sure if they all have or not yet, but I'm pretty sure they probably should have by now, yes.
So after we approve this, then you will notify them where they came in our rankings?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Strikes me that this is fewer applications this year than normal also. And the dollar, 'cause I seem to recall we had like 10 or 11 usually. I guess maybe it varies from year to year. So-
Yeah. I think last year we actually only had 7 last year.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. I
Last
thought
year-
it
I'd have
was.
to look 'em.
Well, I do know one of them last year, or the year before, was the air truck for the fire department. That was a, shall we say, big ticket item, and we're grateful that the county chose to fund that. Board members, do we have any further questions?
No, sir.
That being the case, any public question or comment? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolutions 20-18-01 to 21-7, endorse,
Rob, go back, resolutions 21-1801. You said 20.
I'm sorry,
That's okay.
21-1801 to 21-1807, endorsing and authorizing the submission of Dauphin County Local Share Grant applications. I had the 2020 from the one before.
Yes, we're still trying to move past 2020, aren't we? Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll now move to subdivision and land development plans. We need first of all to take action on a final subdivision plan for D&F Ventures LLC. And I see Mrs. Zerby is here. Good evening. And
Good evening.
good to see you. Can you give us a brief overview, please?
I can. The final subdivision plan proposes to subdivide an existing lot of 36.72 acres into 2 lots. Lot 1, with a total area of 18.36 acres, will be conveyed to Charles Fogarty, but will remain as a standalone lot. Lot 2, with a total area of 18.36 acres, will be conveyed to Nicholas DeSanto. This is a wooded mountain lot located in the Conservation Zoning District. No land development is proposed, and the subdivision is for the sole purpose of land transfer. The plan was approved at the July 7th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting. There are 4 waiver requests, which staff supports, as they are typical waivers related to non-building lots. There are 4 administrative comments and 2 general comments for the plan. And Charlie Cook is here if you have any questions regarding the plan.
Please give us your name and address, sir.
I'm sorry?
Please give us your name and address.
My
for
name
the
is
record.
Charles R. Cook. I'm a professional land surveyor. I live at 331 Watts Drive, Duncannon, Pennsylvania, 17020. And I'm open for any questions that you may have as far as this plan is concerned. I consider that all the HRGs and the county comments have been addressed. However, there are a couple administrative comments. I don't believe any of them, other than the ACAD disc being filed with the township, which will happen. The other comment was that we had the wrong deed reference on the plan when the township sold the land to these two gentlemen. That was my fault, because when I did the survey, they still owned it, and it just slipped by the cracks. That's been taken care of. It's already on the, been revised on the ACAD disc, so it will show up on that when it comes through to the municipality. The administrative comments from the standpoint of me as a surveyor, I believe have all been addressed with the exception of the ACAD. The rest of them are going to have to be taken care of by Mr. Fogarty and Nick. Once we get, they'll come in with for the plans recorded and pay all those fees that are due.
Is that acceptable to staff?
Yes.
Amanda, I just had a question. It says, no type of land development proposed. Could this land be developed? I mean, they're saying it's all wooded.
The average slope of this tract is 36%. The lower lot that Mr. DeSanto is going to add to an existing 5-acre lot that he has there, which also has access, a right-of-way access from Parkway East, but it's only 15 foot wide. The lower end of that lot number 2, the slopes are a little bit more pleasing, but they're still way over 12%. I don't believe Mr. DeSanto is going to develop this simply because the problem he was having is people come up that road, his driveway, and park and get out of their vehicle and load their guns and go up hunting, because they did it for years when the retarded child school was there. And people at this land stopped that, and I don't blame him. He's got young kids. Mr. Fogarty's tract, the average slope on that is over 40%. It's just, you never get there even with a truck or a vehicle to drill a well or anything. It's just too steep. And Mr. Fogarty doesn't want it for that purpose. He wanted it strictly for hunting.
Okay. I was just concerned because of stormwater, if they would decide to build up there, because I know it runs down, the property's down beyond it, it runs down now, so.
I would go on record as saying if somebody's going to develop either of those tracts, they're going to spend a lot of money to try and make just the lower one happen. The upper one is out of the question.
Okay.
Mr. Fogarty does have access to that property, but it comes in from Middle Paxton Township.
On the back.
There's a right-of-way off of Parkway, the Blue Mountain Parkway, that a lot of people have used, as well as him. He owns a lot of tracts over on the Middle Paxton side. And then there's a road that leaves that right-of-way and goes right up to the 10-acre tract, which is shown on the plan as the adjoiner to the north. Now, there is no existing road that comes down through that tract, but it would be quite easy for him to make that happen if he would need to, but he's not going to do anything with it.
Okay, great, thank
It's
you.
going to go to him, and he's then going to turn it over to his son, who's another avid hunter, and that is some of the best hunting that I've ever seen. Because Mr. Fogarty and I are really good friends, and I've hunted with him on there many, many times, and that's why he wants it, the
Okay.
top tract.
Great, thank you.
That being said, I hope that answered your question.
Yep, it did.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just a quick one for Jason. It said approval subject to addressing 8 comments. And I'm going down and I see 6. Is there 2 more somewhere?
I think that's referring to the 2 subdivision and land development comments and then the 6 administrative comments. So 8 total.
Mr. Judd, any public comment? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium and give us your name and address. Wow. Hopefully our audit comes out even and we don't have money lying around the floor here. That's
Well, you always be optimistic, Loman. Eric Epstein, 4100 Hillsdale Road. Just an observation. I just talked to Nick DeSanto. Gentleman's description is absolutely accurate. Nick has spent a lot of money on safety and security, camera. I don't know about his neighbor There's a ton of poaching that goes on there. I was just over at the house. It's the old Camp Sertoma, from anybody who was here before.
Oh, okay.
Robin, you can't develop it. It's just, the slopes are such. But I know over the years, Nick has expressed interest in just increasing safety and security. He's got 4 kids, and I think you're right. I think legacy-wise, people were permitted to hunt. It just doesn't seem that folks are getting the memo. I'm not really sure what you do, but I think it's actually a win-win for everybody. That land will be preserved. It's never going to be developed, and it's really de facto park and rec space for everybody. It's a gorgeous site.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Would anybody else like to make comment?
You can drop the money off in that little cup.
I see no further comment, and if there's no further board member questions or comments, it would be an appropriate time for a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the subdivision and land development action on a final development plan for DNF Ventures LLC, plan number 21-08.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Plan approved. Thank you, sir. We now need to take action on a preliminary and final land development plan for the Infinity Charter School, this being plan number 21-15. Mrs. Zerby.
Yes, the preliminary final land development plan for the additions and renovations to the Infinity Charter School located at 5405 Locust Lane proposes to lay out the future expansion of the school and new parking lot. The scope of the project will include the demolition of the adjacent macadam surface and associated parking lot islands to accommodate the 3-story, 6,992 square foot building addition with a total gross floor area of 11,000 square feet. Also proposed is the 4,700 square foot new asphalt paving to accommodate the lost parking due to the building addition. The lot is comprised of 5.86 acres and is located within the commercial neighborhood district, as well as the R1 low-density zoning district. The site is served by public sewer and water, and the plan was approved at the July 7th Planning Commission meeting. The applicant is seeking 3 waivers. However, 2 of the waiver requests are not required, and the applicant will be rescinding the requests. That is waiver 1 and 2. Waiver number 3, staff supports, because the applicant has provided the required studies in previous plans. The plan has 3 administrative comments and 4 general comments. And Carolyn DuBois from K&W is here this evening to answer any questions you have regarding this plan.
Okay. If you could come to the podium.
Oh, not Carolyn.
I was going to say,
Sorry.
she looks a little different.
I've been dealing with Carolyn, sorry.
Masquerading as Carolyn DuBois. Good evening, Mark Karowski with K&W, masquerading as Carolyn DuBois. Nothing further, honestly, to add, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. We are certainly able to address the conditions that have been set forth by the township in terms of addressing all the outstanding comments and administrative items. Happy to answer questions. Also joined this evening by Suzanne Gaussman from the school and Joe Crabtree of our architects, if you should have any specific questions about the project or any of the components.
I just have one. So it says the number of students and faculty will not change. So can I ask, what's the purpose?
And I'll ask Joe to come up. Essentially, this is a gymnasium and support spaces for the existing student and staff population. So this isn't increasing classrooms. It's not intended for increase in student population. Call it an expansion of existing program, if you'd like.
Okay, and when they talk about, the one waiver wasn't necessary because there are not going to be any more increased peak hour trips.
Correct.
So-
Yes, that waiver should not have been requested. We knew
Right.
that we were not increasing. It was kind of a belt and suspenders just to make sure we didn't need to provide the study.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, can I ask how many students attend there now?
This I will have to defer to Ms.
Okay.
Gaussman.
Okay, and what is your,
256.
okay, and what is your capacity? What could you hold? Oh, okay. Okay, you're at capacity. Okay. I don't know how I want to ask this. I've heard through the grapevine that they purchased they used to be the trim line, that the school had purchased the trim line building. Is that true? Okay. So my question is, are they going to be increasing the capacity by building that building? What?
Could you please come to the podium? So our meetings are televised and then are also available on YouTube. So if you're at the podium, that way people can see and hear you. If you give us your name and address, please.
Suzanne Gausman, 618 Dietrich Avenue, Middletown, 17057. We use the building right now for storage and for overflow meeting space.
Okay. I didn't know if that would increase your capacity or not, so, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Zumas, do you have any questions?
Actually, no.
Actually, no. Any public questions or comments? Mr. Epstein?
He just wanted to look for more money.
I think that's what's at.
Eric Epstein, I live at 4100 Hillsdale Road. I'm also a school board member. I talked with Amanda earlier about the concerns we had, and Chris and Robin anticipated some of them. Capacity is interesting because the enrollment issue has a direct impact on us, Chris, and that's our concern was if you increase enrollment, then you increase traffic during peak hours, and especially if it's kindergarten or pre-K, then we have to do an afternoon run. If you have a student that we're reimbursing for an IEP, we may have to provide not only a Boyo bus or an IU bus, but a paraprofessional bus. So there's a couple of concerns here. I don't know if Mr. Thompson reached out to you, Loman, but I talked to Mr. Thompson and Dr. Miller today. We were unaware of this. And we went through this before when Infinity came out here, and we're just disappointed that there wasn't any communication. Chris, you had the same question I did. I saw an expansion. I'm thinking more enrollment. Our nut for charter schools went from 10 million to 14 million this year, so we're hoping that's reduced. Capacity is a tricky thing, and I don't know how it works with charter, but there's two forms of capacity. There's PDE capacity, which is more or less your maximum capacity based on space. And then there's basically the school district capacity based on use. So for instance, Central often has a room, we say we're going to use it for music, the capacity is different, whereas PDE looks at it as, you know, what's your ratio for number of students per staff. So I guess the concern we have, and just wanted to address it tonight, was that there was no communication with the district. We were unaware that this was going to happen. It has an impact on us. We actually weren't contacted when they increased enrollment to 256. So I guess my question is, I'm not really asking for a delay as much as we need to improve communication. We provide a lot of transportation. As you probably know, we provide transportation to schools 10 miles outside of the district. Chris is well aware of this. It's a challenge. You know, it's really difficult. So we are compiling our transportation list to be approved in August. Had no idea this was happening. So I don't really want you to get involved with refereeing this, but I strongly encourage you to call Dr. Miller and President Tom. We were alarmed when we saw this, and this has been going on for some time. I would presume at some point, as in any business plan, enrollment increasing is inevitable. And if that's going to be the case, then I think we need to have better communication between the school district and the charter school. I'd also point out, and Chris knows this well, we have 19 buildings. We're open almost 24/7, 365. So I don't know what the plan is with the gym, if that's going to be opened or not, but we have to make security and transportation provisions every time we have an evening or weekend event. So again, these are things that we have to anticipate. I don't want to get into a public versus charter debate here, but just want to register our disappointment that the issue wasn't communicated to us. We found out about the 11th hour. I did speak to Amanda because I didn't want to come here, and it seems like both Chris and Robin anticipated our concerns. So it's also coming at a time we're unveiling a charter academy of ourselves, and so ironically, they're a de facto competitor. So, I guess my direct question in the future, can we get a commitment that we're going to speak? Because you set off a lot of alarms today. All right, thank you.
Okay. I will point out that this is a preliminary and final land development plan, and while you may have valid issues, they are not relevant to the specific decision we have to make tonight.
There was one comment that was, I don't know if you remember, one of the comments was how to position children for traffic, intake and uptake. So if you look at your comments, there was one that was directly related. I don't know if that was addressed, but when you're picking up kids and you're changing the configuration of the campus, where and how they get picked up is significant. And you guys are the public health and safety experts, so I agree with what you're saying. It would just be better if we all worked together. This is the summer of love and peace. It's 2021.
It would be wonderful if everybody could just get along and work together, but hopefully y'all will talk more in the future. Any other questions or comments from the public on this proposed plan? Okay, seeing none and having heard all board member questions and comments, the time would be appropriate for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the preliminary final land development plan for the Infinity Charter School, Plan number 2115.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Zerby. That takes us to improvement guarantees, of which there are 4. And we're in good shape on those 4. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the improvement guarantees, the Oaks, Allentown Boulevard Warehouse, Holy Name of Jesus, the new rectory, and Chelsea Falls Phase 1.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
This takes us to the payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and the Lower Paxton Township Authority. Mr. Treasurer.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and Lower Paxton Township Authority as noted on the agenda.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any further announcements from the board or the township manager? Before we adjourn, I will note that the next meeting of the Board of Supervisors will not be on Tuesday, July 13th, 2021, as we do not have a DeLorean or any ability to go back to the future. Our next meeting would be would normally be the first Tuesday of August. However, that will be National Night Out, and we hope everybody will join us for National Night Out. So the meeting, we're going to have some discussions whether to move the meeting to Wednesday evening or just not have a meeting that week and resume business with a workshop the following week. So stay tuned and check out our website as we determine what we want to do there. Please come to the...
Should have done this at the beginning, but, and you may already be aware of it, I didn't hear anybody talk about it. Lower Paxton Township was prominently and positively featured in PSATs this July on their approach to stormwater. So
Yes.
I'm not sure that everybody out there was aware of it. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention.
Good point.
Thank you for bringing that up. We have mentioned it on several occasions and appreciate you bringing that back up again because the whole stormwater issue, folks are always wondering what their money is going to, and it's good to be recognized statewide for putting all that money to very good use. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.